Good morning, Brother Boo Lee. So glad. You're always on the scene, and I really, really appreciate you being here. And certainly, we're here this morning to give a blessing to the South Lawn community. For those of you that may not know, there was a recent tragedy here about a week or so ago where a young man was killed. And so we want to bless this community because we know that that's a very traumatic experience. But you know, even further than that, we're going to try to do some other things to try to help this community to be able to thrive and live safely. But I'm just going to briefly say that I reached out to this sister right here, Anita Daniels, because she offers a ministry. She has a foundation, but she's offering a ministry to all over, not just in this area, but all over Houston and in the United States, actually. And so certainly, I want to give her an opportunity to greet you and say a few things. And I'm Carolyn Evans Shabazz. I am the humble and proud council member of Dist.D, what I call the District of Destination. And I believe that all of Dist.D, these are my people, my children. It's just like a parent. It's just like a parent. I take responsibility for those things that were happening before I got here and those things that are happening now. And so certainly I'm very thankful. We're here also. We have Brother Gerry Monroe, who has clothes out here. But let me let Anita speak, and then certainly you can speak with Brother Monroe. Anita Daniels.
Council member, thank you so much. Thank you so much, council member, for even giving us the opportunity to be here with you, to stand with you and stand with the South Lawn community. Such a beautiful community and a historical community as well. And we are the Anita D Designer Foundation. I am the founder, Anita Daniels. And yes, we have a program. And our program that we got rolling last year in March when the world shut down is Clean Up COVID-19. So we have been up and down the coast of Texas, and we have partners way up in Ohio that whenever we say that we have a need and we want to help some people, they're sending us our products and our supplies for the community. We love our community. That's why we're doing what we're doing. We cannot do it without people like Councilmember Shabazz, Jack Yates, Gerry Monroe, Lifted Distraction, A Rocket Movers. We need all the hands and feet of those who can come and help to get the hope into the people's hands, because we don't know when we're going to get out of this situation, but we're here to help and to assist as much as we possibly can. And I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for allowing us this opportunity.
Thank you for coming on such a short notice. And we know that there were some glitches, but you wouldn't know, because God works things out, and I'm so very thankful for you and for him, certainly. And so,
say, man, we out here at South Lawn. I get to travel all over the country and help communities, man. I do a lot of work in Minneapolis for George, for that community up there. So when I saw what happened in South Lawn, it was like, no, I got to come home and do this, man. I got to come home and make sure my people's straight. So it's a blessing to have the City Councilwoman Carolyn Shabazz, Dr. Carolyn Evans Shabazz, you know, all my good friends over here giving away all this. Of course, the legendary A Rocket. If you ain't from 3rd Ward, you don't know who A Rocket is. You feel what I'm saying? So we here with the help of the Houston Police Department. Precinct 7 Constable May Walker has sent some people out here. Captain Smokey Phillips say, man, we got it out here. Come get it. It's free. And along the way, if you here and you need help, let us know what you need, man. Because I plan on walking some of these apartments. I want to see how my people living. If it ain't up to standards, we finna put some pressure on some folks. So, you know, we even got my good friend Tamika Motley from Primerica. If you need life insurance, she can hook you up for a little bit of nothing. We got to eliminate the excuses. Ain't nobody coming to save us. We got to save ourselves. My Latino brothers, we got to save ourselves. And I'm here, and I'm just excited to have all these good people out here. It's not a political day. It's a public servant day.
All right, everybody, we live on May the 23rd on a Sunday afternoon. what we might say Sunday morning here, and I'm with Mr. Gerry Monroe of Jack Yates, along with me, Bobby Boo Lee Williams. And today, Monroe, explain to us what we doing out here in all these boxes, man. This big U-Haul is full from the top to the bottom, ain't it?
Yeah, it's loaded from the front to the back, top to the bottom. It was an unfortunate murder out here last week. Young man was murdered on, it was recorded live on Facebook. Okay,
now where we at? Right here, we on the corner of South Lawn?
Yeah, we in Scott and Carter. We in the South Lawn Palms Apartments.
Okay, which is right next door to Cullen Middle School, right?
Right across the street.
And you went to Cullen Middle School, right?
Yep.
And Joe Martell, was he the principal and James Tignor vice principal there?
Yep, Coach.
Real good friends of mine.
Coach Bean, Coach Meadows, all them good gurus was there, man.
Okay, now let's go back. You saying that they had a homicide here last week?
Yeah, it was, they recorded it live and they put it all on social media, and when I saw it, I was fresh back from Minnesota doing work. I do a lot of work up there with that community for George. Okay. And I saw it, and it turned my stomach. Right. To see this young kid, a veteran, be murdered live on Facebook. So I know the history of South Lawn, and I said, man, I'm going in there. Okay. Because we need to go in there and address this. We can't stop violence unless we address it. Okay. And what I tell people, and nobody's coming to save us. We got to save ourselves. Okay. So we can't be afraid to go into these rough neighborhoods and address the natives to tell them enough is enough. So I decided, I'll make it a good day. Hook up with a couple of people I know, and I got like $20,000-$30,000 worth of free clothes that I just want to give out to the kids. Wow. And while I come up in here, have conversations with the natives. I don't care if you're a gang member, I don't care if you're a church member. We're gonna have that talk today, because I can't have these murders happening, less than a block away from a local middle school. I can't have it.
Right, and it's really bad, it's really sending bad vibes to the young people that's going to that middle school, and some of the parents are scared to have their kids to go to the middle school.
Exactly.
And some of those kids that go to Cullen Middle School, they feed in the Jack Yates, don't they?
That's where we get the bulk of our kids from.
Right, because they closed down Ryan and Miller, so therefore the only feeder school, that middle school we got, is Cullen.
Exactly.
Okay. Now what we were saying today, you're saying you got to go over to Wesley
Square. That's another apartment complex southeast Houston, over there off of Belford and Cullen. So when I finish here, maybe 1-2 o'clock, we'll go over to Wesley Square, and I'm not gonna stop until I empty this truck. Right. So I'm gonna make sure that these kids are good, and I'm gonna be doing this all summer. This is something I want to do all summer. This is what I do when I go out to Minnesota, so I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna do what I do at home. So yeah, we gonna do this all summer. Make sure these kids good, make sure these parents got what they need, but at the same time try to talk to them and enlighten them and encourage them, give them some hope. Don't think this is your retirement home here. Right. Use this as a stepping stone. I understand that you're struggling and it's tough on you right now. Let's just use this to get to where we want to go. Yeah. So,
Go on. So in other words, what we're saying is, just like you start in school, don't stay in the first grade, move on up until you graduate.
Exactly.
And it's the same way in the life that we living in today. This is just like the kindergarten part. Exactly. And we got to keep on moving. We can't stay here, but we also got to make it comfortable for the other people who coming in.
Exactly. We got a community full of kids. We got a community full of poor people, but we got senior citizens in this community. So somebody has to step up. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I mean, I don't care if I lose my life doing this, because it's what God want me to do.
That's your calling.
So it's gonna be done.
What's gonna be done, as long as you got life in your breath. This is your calling, is to get out here in the community, especially in the community that you were raised up in.
Exactly.
And help, because I look at it this way, like you say, you out there in Minneapolis, and you doing a lot of work up for the George Floyd Foundation and the George Floyd Friends they got up there in Minnesota. You organizing them. So therefore, why not organize the hometown where you and George Floyd was raised up in?
Exactly. So I mean, I'm not I'm not afraid to come home and do anything. Like I tell the youngsters, man, before these streets was yours, they were for me. So, you know, let's not get it twisted. We don't want to make this personal. What we want to do is we want to figure out a way for you to make the money you want to make, but make it the right way. We want to make sure that wherever we live is peaceful. You know, I'm not saying that you don't have to be a man. A man gonna do whatever he got to do to feed his family.
Exactly.
And I can't take that from him.
Now you got to give him that problem.
But at the same time, there's a way to do it without all these murders, and that's where I'm at. I'm committed to helping Chief Fenner not get to 500 murders like former Chief Acevedo said we would. But I mean, if we don't step up, if the community doesn't step up, we'll get to 500 murders before October, man.
And you know, and the summer haven't even came yet. The heat haven't came yet, and that's most of your crime coming up when this heat comes in.
Exactly.
And now, and what we're trying to do here, or what you're trying to do, is bring in all the people together and work together as a unit. That means the people out there that's selling drugs to the people out there that's going to church, bringing them in so we can cut out the homicides.
I mean, exactly. I mean, it's not, people think that it's so hard to stop this, that it's really not. You just have to be proactive and you have to be diligent. You have to be doing this every day. So
consistency.
You have to have consistency if you want anything to change.
Consistency.
And we haven't been consistent at the government level, city, state, national. We haven't been consistent addressing poverty in our communities. But me, where I'm at in my heart, I don't care if I got a team. I don't care if I'm by myself. I'm gonna do my part until God put me in the ground. I'm gonna do what I gotta do to help my people.
You know, and you're talking about this, Monroe, is that we as a people, as a community, we got to step up. We can't wait for the politicians to could do it. We got to do it ourselves.
Well, if you're waiting on politicians to do it, we need to understand you got two things you're dealing with when you're dealing with them. They either politicians or public servants. See, a public servant gonna load this truck up.
Right.
A public servant gonna come out here and give it away.
Right.
I ain't doing this for no likes. I'm not doing this for nothing. It's just, it needs to be done. A politician is gonna sit in the office downtown and play the games. So if you're waiting on a politician to fix the neighborhood, it'll never get done.
It won't happen.
It won't happen.
Okay, and it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense, because what we're looking at here is that the community have to come together as a unit and bring some kind of unity together.
Exactly.
And you can't bring unity together without communication.
Exactly.
And this is what we doing here, Monroe. And me and you are the only ones that out here that goes on Facebook and YouTube and try to bring out our community and keep a lot of people aware of things that the news department don't give you.
I mean, you got to know who you are. You got to know where you at. I'm sitting in the middle of a war zone at 9 o'clock in the morning.
We are. And we got people hanging out, but we're not scared, because why we have been used to being out here on these streets.
It's my community.
I'm not concerned about, man, somebody gonna steal your equipment. Ain't y'all worried about somebody stealing?
Nobody gonna bother us, man.
They ain't gonna bother us.
And the reason they're not gonna bother us because they know me and they respect me. They know what I stand for. I don't come in here looking down on them. I come in here looking at them like, I remember when I was struggling just like you, maybe not in here, but I remember I went through the same things. You know, so let me give you some insight on what you could try to get yourself in a better position.
You know, and I recognize that so much, Gerry, because you being a former student at Cullen Middle School, and my good friend James Tickner, who always keep up with all the videos I do, was his assistant principal there. And I know good and well how good me and Joe Martell used to be before he even got that job. Exactly. I was working with Joe Martell when we was at Cullen, before Cullen integrated.
Exactly.
And he was the first black to be assistant principal at Cullen when the school opened up for blacks in September 1967. So I know, and then having people like you to come through that program, and to see how the program had went down so far, and where you have to come over here, because I remember over here when Quicksack was up there, some of you people who might not know back in the day, Le Chat, which was a club, was up there on that corner. This used to, the Cosmopolitan, the Continental apartment. All this was the first place blacks started living in a decent area that had apartments. And now, you would say 60 years later, look at it today, you know, like you said, the homicide, they can't let it over here. Well, a lot of blacks are scared to come over here.
A lot of people want to say, well, it's the people's mentality, and that's partly true. You know, the way it's gone down. But I mean, when you don't upgrade this community, when you don't take our tax money and help, and this is subsidized housing, so if you don't take our tax money and fix the roof on this place, or do some landscaping, then it starts to look like a jungle. And then what do you want the natives to act like if they live in the jungle?
In the jungle.
They gonna act like savages.
And you're so absolutely right, because see, we're looking at, like you said, the subdivision in Section 8, you know, and they need to be more harder on these landlords, other than just giving them a place to stay and pacifying these people. They need to come over here and check on these landlords and keep this update this community.
Exactly.
You know?
They get plenty of tax money to do what they do. They would never allow this to happen in an Asian community. They would never allow this to happen in a white community. And it's a plan that they run. It's a blueprint that they use all across the country. Because when you go into a poor black community, all of them across the country look the same way.
You know,
they look the same way.
It's sort of like a monopoly that they're doing.
Pretty much.
Yeah. In other words, it's kind of like you say. It's kind of like a network.
Exactly.
No matter what part you are, if you're in New York or you're in Chicago, you're in Houston, you're in Minneapolis, the bottom line is all gonna look like you said, a bunch of trash hanging all on the street.
Oh.